You're tired, but you're awake. The world is quiet, but your thoughts are loud. You've closed the door, turned off the lights, but something inside is still pacing. You breathe, but it's shallow. You lie still, but the mind runs. You ask, why can't I sleep? But maybe the deeper question is, why can't I stop thinking? In this episode of Sleep Dharma, we don't chase sleep. We meet the mind exactly where it is, restless, aching, reaching, and we learn to sit beside it gently. Let Buddhist wisdom hold you tonight, not as a remedy, but as a remembering. And if this path speaks to something quiet inside you, subscribe to Lotus Light Teachings so we can keep walking together into the silence that heals. Part 1: The Monkey Mind Beneath the Moon. From Why You Can't Sleep, Buddhist Teachings for the Wandering Mind. You turn off the lights, pull the blanket up, adjust the pillow once, twice, maybe 3 times. You close your eyes, and for a moment there's quiet. But then the thought arrives. It doesn't knock, it just slips in. And with it comes 1,000 others. The fight you had last week, the message you didn't reply to, the thing you forgot to do, the memory you thought you buried, the future you can't predict. And just like that, you're no longer lying in bed. You're running inside your mind, chasing, dodging, replaying, predicting. You want to sleep, but your thoughts, they want to do everything but that. And deep down, you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But what if I told you nothing is wrong with you? What if the reason you can't sleep isn't a flaw, but a very old habit that your mind learned to keep you safe? In Buddhist teachings, there is a name for this restless, overactive, impossible to control part of the mind. They call it the monkey mind. The monkey mind is ancient, restless, wild, and above all afraid of stillness. Like a monkey swinging from one tree to another, our thoughts leap through time and memory. They cling to branches made of guilt, regret, desire, and fear, always moving, always grasping, because staying still means facing what's underneath. And at night, when the world is finally quiet, when no one's asking for anything, when the noise has faded, you'd think the monkey would rest. But this is exactly when it panics, because it's never been taught how to be still. And for many of us, neither have we. No one taught you how to sit with uncertainty. No one showed you how to breathe through regret. No one told you that your thoughts are not your enemy, but also not your truth. The Buddha knew this. He saw how the mind, untrained and afraid, creates suffering out of silence, because it doesn't know how to live without clinging. And so he taught, train the monkey, not by force, but by compassion. You see, the monkey mind is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. Every time it replays a mistake, it thinks it's helping you avoid future pain. Every time it imagines a disaster, it believes it's keeping you safe. Every time it clings to a thought you wish would disappear, it's trying to warn you, don't let this happen again. But it's tired, and so are you. So tonight, you're not going to fight the monkey. You're going to sit beside it. And when it reaches for the past, you'll hold its hand and breathe. And when it runs toward the future, you'll whisper, not now, little one. We're safe here. The Buddha didn't banish his thoughts. He befriended them. He watched them arise, fade, return, fade again, until, like waves that had lost their momentum, they simply settled. This is what you're being invited into tonight. Not sleep, not yet, but stillness. The kind of stillness that doesn't demand silence, but listens to whatever arises. You see, there is a difference between a quiet room and a quiet heart. You can have one without the other. But to sleep deeply, your body doesn't just need a bed. It needs your permission to stop running. And that permission can only come when you stop trying to control the mind and start trying to understand it. Take a breath, not to fix, not to erase, just to notice the rise, the fall, the space in between. Your breath is older than your worries. It knows how to return, even when your thoughts don't. The moon outside your window has watched generations of humans toss and turn under its light. You are not the first person to struggle like this. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are just human, and the mind is doing what it was trained to do. But tonight, you begin a new training, not through effort, but through gentleness. Every time a thought arises, you can name it: worry, regret, memory, fear, and then let it pass. Like watching clouds drift across a sky you no longer need to control. You are the sky. The monkey is the movement within it, but you are the space that remains. Imagine now, you and your monkey mind, sitting side by side on a quiet hill. You're not asking it to be quiet. You're simply offering it stillness. And in that offering, it may settle, even just a little, maybe not perfectly, but enough. Enough for your breath to slow. Enough for your shoulders to release. Enough for you to realize that sleep doesn't begin with the absence of thoughts. It begins with the absence of struggle. And that is where you are now, still here, still breathing, still safe. You may not be asleep yet, but you are no longer running. And that is already a kind of peace. Shall we rest a little deeper now? Part 2, the art of surrendering to sleep. You've probably been told your whole life that sleep is something you get, something you achieve, if you follow the right steps, a checklist of silence, darkness, temperature, and routine. And maybe that works sometimes, but what about nights like this? Nights when you do everything right, and the mind still spins like a fan that forgot how to slow down. Nights when your body feels like it's floating in a river, but your thoughts are still pacing the shore. There is a quiet suffering that comes, not just from sleeplessness, but from the expectation of sleep, the pressure to succeed at resting. You lie there, and suddenly resting becomes a task, a performance, a quiet war within your own head. Why am I still awake? What's wrong with me? I'll be exhausted tomorrow. I need to sleep now. And the more you chase it, the farther it runs. But what if sleep is not something you chase? What if sleep is like a cat, comes when you're not looking, curls up beside you when you finally stop trying to hold it? In Buddhism, we don't speak of sleep as a destination. We speak of surrender, not the surrender of giving up, but the surrender of letting go of the chase, letting go of the grasp, letting go of the idea that you have to make something happen. Because here's the secret: the more you try to control the mind, the more it resists. The mind is like water. When you stir it, it clouds. When you force it, it splashes. But when you leave it alone, when you give it space, when you stop telling it to be anything other than what it is, it begins to settle, slowly, quietly, naturally. So tonight we practice something gentle, not fixing, not solving, not even relaxing, just surrendering, not with words, not with willpower, but with breath. Start here. Feel your body lying down, the weight of your back against the mattress, the shape of your shoulders, however they are. No need to correct, just notice. Notice the space between thoughts, the pause between inhale and exhale. That pause is not empty, it is spacious. It is the doorway to surrender. In that space, you are not controlling anything. You are simply here. You might think, but I'm not sleeping yet. That's okay. You are still healing. You are still softening. And that is enough. The Buddha once said, let go of the past, let go of the future, let go of the present. With a heart that is free, you will cross over the world of suffering. This also applies to sleep. Let go of the day you had. Let go of the day ahead. Let go of the idea that this moment has to be anything different than it is. Breathe into the surrender. Feel it, not as a concept, as a sensation. What if, just for now, you stop trying to fall asleep and instead fall into the breath? That is where surrender begins. And surrender is where sleep waits, not outside of you, but within you, beneath the noise, beneath the layers, beneath the shoulds and musts. It has always been there. You just had to stop looking for it, long enough for it to find you. Let's try something. Not a meditation, just a remembering. Place your awareness gently at your chest. Feel it rise. Feel it fall. That's it. No need to follow every breath. Just one. One breath that doesn't ask you to change. One breath that doesn't ask you to improve. One breath that simply says, "Welcome back." Can you feel it? That small release, when the body stops resisting and just rests in gravity. That is surrender. You are not giving up. You are giving in to what already is. And as you breathe, notice the shift, not in your mind, but in your relationship to the moment. You are not pushing anymore. You are not pulling. You are not measuring. You are simply being. That is not weakness. That is wisdom, because the wisest part of you knows that sleep does not come by force. Comes when we let go of being the one who controls it. This letting go is not passive. It's sacred. It says, I trust the process that I cannot see. I trust that my body knows how to rest. I trust that my mind will return to stillness in its own time. Maybe not right now. Maybe not in the next 5 breaths. But eventually, I trust that it will. Let this be your mantra tonight. I surrender the chase. I welcome what is. I am held by this moment. You don't need more effort. You need more space. So allow space to open around your breath. Allow your hands to soften, your jaw, your belly, your heart, and let yourself arrive, not at sleep, but at stillness. Sleep will come, but stillness is already here. Can you feel that? The subtle shift from trying to trusting, that's the doorway. You found it. You are already on the other side. Part 3, what the mind is really trying to protect. Why does the mind keep thinking, even when all you want is silence? Why does it bring up what hurt, what was never said, what could go wrong? You've tried telling it to stop. You've reasoned with it. You've ignored it. And still, it speaks. Whispers in the quiet. Warnings in the dark. Echoes of old pain dressed as new fears. But what if I told you this? Your mind isn't attacking you. It's trying to protect you. That voice, that endless reel of what ifs and what was, it's not punishment. It's protection. But the protection is outdated. The lock is still on the door, even though the danger has already passed. You see, the mind learns from experience. And when you were hurt, rejected, misunderstood, abandoned, unseen, the mind took note. It said, that was painful. Let's not let that happen again. So it started building walls, barriers, guard rails of thought that say, don't open up too much. Watch out, that looks familiar. Stay alert, you never know. And at night, when the distractions fall away, that system kicks in. Start scanning for anything it might have missed. But you're not in danger now. Not in the same way. Not like before. You're just lying in bed, breathing, trying to rest. But the mind doesn't know the difference between a lion in the grass and a memory that feels like a lion. So it reacts the same way. Tightens, thinks, spins, prepares. That's why you can't sleep. Not because you're broken, but because you were wounded, and the mind never got the memo that it could relax. No one ever taught it how, but Buddhism does. In Buddhist psychology, there's a word, dukkha, suffering, unease, the discomfort of being. And one of the roots of dukkha is aversion, the mind's attempt to push away anything that feels like pain. But aversion is not healing. It's hiding. It's trying to protect by suppression. And what we suppress, the body remembers. The night awakens. That's why the thoughts come when all else is quiet. They're not random. They're messengers, not to be obeyed, but to be listened to with gentleness. So tonight, when the thought returns, that one you keep wrestling with, that seems to have a key to every door, don't try to shut it out. Ask it, what are you trying to protect? And then wait. Maybe the answer will come. Maybe it won't. But the act of asking already softens the mind's grip, because now you're not at war with yourself. You're in conversation, and that changes everything. Imagine this. There is a small child, curled up at the back of your mind. She's afraid of being left again. He's afraid of failing again. They're afraid of feeling too much and being told it's too much. And so they've built stories, scenarios, contingency plans, worry, disguised as wisdom, not because they're foolish, because they're trying to protect the softest part of you. But what that part needs is not protection, it's presence. A gentle voice that says, "It's okay now. You don't have to guard the door anymore. You're safe to rest." That's what you offer your mind tonight. Not silence forced through tension, but quiet built on trust. The mind won't change in one night, but it doesn't have to. It just has to see, through your breath, your softness, your patience, that the danger is gone. That now, the safest place to be is here, right now, in the arms of this breath, in the hush of this stillness, in the knowing that there is nothing to fix, only something to feel, and you are already feeling it. That release, just behind the eyes, that warmth in your chest, that comes not from effort, but from being understood. You don't need to escape your thoughts tonight. You just need to acknowledge their purpose. They are not enemies. They are exiles. And like any exile, what they truly want is not power, but peace. Offer it, not by solving, but by softening. Let your next breath be an invitation. Come home to the parts of your mind that feel like they've been working overtime for decades, to the protector who doesn't realize that the war is over, to the thought that still knocks at 2 a.m. because it never got closure. Let them all come, and instead of building another wall, open a window. Let the night breeze in. Let it brush across the edges of your memory and remind you not everything must be carried to be remembered. Some things can be honored and still released. And if the thought comes again, it's okay. It's not proof of failure. It's proof that you are still listening. And that is more powerful than any silence forced through suppression. Tonight, your job is not to be thoughtless. It's to be open. Open to healing. Open to truth. Open to a sleep that comes. Not because the mind stopped moving, but because the heart stopped running. Breathe here, in this moment, with all that's alive in you. You don't need to change it. You just need to hold it with the same tenderness you wish someone had once held you. This is what the mind has been trying to protect all along. And now that it sees you can hold it with kindness, maybe, just maybe, can finally rest too. Part 4, the body remembers the noise. Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's not your thoughts keeping you awake, but something deeper, something in your chest, in your stomach, in the curve of your back, a subtle tension, like a whisper your body never stopped hearing. You try to sleep, but your shoulders won't soften. Your jaw clenches. Your breath never quite sinks into the belly. Something resists. You may think it's your mind again, but tonight, let's look somewhere else. Let's look here, at the body, the home you carry, the temple where every memory leaves an echo, even if the mind has long forgotten the sound. You see, the body remembers. It remembers the day you held in your tears, the hour you were told to stay strong, the night you pretended everything was fine. It remembers the arguments you laughed through, the loneliness you covered with busyness, the disappointment you swallowed, because there was no space for it anywhere else. And where did it all go? Nowhere. It stayed, right there, in the tightness in your neck, the ache in your spine, the breath that never quite deepens. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the body is not separate from the mind. It is the mind made flesh, and every unspoken fear, every unfelt grief, every half-swallowed truth lives on as tension, a hand that won't unclench, a chest that won't rise freely, a belly that won't soften. So what you're feeling tonight, in this moment of stillness, might not be anxiety. It might be remembrance. Your body reminding you of all the times you didn't get to rest, of all the times you had to stay alert, of the nights your younger self cried quietly under the covers, hoping someone would come but no one did. You grew up. You learned to cope. You became strong. But your body never forgot, because the body doesn't move on just because the mind wants to. It heals when it's heard. So tonight, instead of fighting your restlessness, listen to it, not like a problem, but like a child who has been trying to speak for years. Place your hand gently on your chest and say inwardly, "I'm listening now." Say it again, slower this time. "I'm listening now." Notice what changes. Notice if something inside quiets or moves or trembles. That's okay. That's beautiful, because movement is how the body speaks. Maybe a memory rises, one you haven't seen in a while. Maybe your eyes sting without warning. Maybe your lower back starts to pulse. This is the language of release. Not always peaceful, not always easy, but real. In Buddhism, the body is not a distraction from practice. It is the practice, the breath, the posture, the awareness of sensation. This is where awakening begins. Not somewhere in the clouds, but in the warmth of your own hands, the stillness of your jaw, the feeling of your back sinking into the bed. You don't have to make anything happen. You just have to stay, to remain with your body, like a trusted friend. Tonight, you are not meditating to transcend the body. You are meditating to return to it, to say, "You don't have to hold everything anymore. I'm here now. You're safe. Let's breathe here together." Inhale slowly through the nose and feel the breath brush the back of your throat. Pause at the top, then let it go gently through the mouth, like a sigh you were never allowed to release. Again, inhale. Feel the ribs expand. Feel the belly rise, even if just a little. Pause. Exhale slowly, letting the tension melt down the spine. You're not trying to relax. You're offering presence. And presence heals. Scan your body gently. Feel your face. Are your eyebrows holding on to something? Let them drop. Your jaw. Can it soften just 5% more? Now your shoulders. They've been holding weight for years. Can you let them lower, even if just by a breath? Now your chest. What lives there tonight? Loneliness? Pressure? Grief? Love? Let it be. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to name it. You just have to let it live. And let it leave, if it's ready. The belly, so often pulled in, tightened, braced. Can you let it fall? This is where many of us hold shame, judgment, fear. But the belly is also where life begins, where we're first connected to our mothers, where instinct lives, where intuition breathes. Let your breath reach there. Let it soothe what's been unseen. Now your legs, your thighs, your knees, all the way to your toes. Feel gravity holding you. Nothing to resist, nothing to do. You are not falling asleep. You are falling into your body, into the wisdom it's been carrying for you, quietly, patiently. In the Dhammapada, it is said, "The body is a fragile vessel. Tend to it with care, for it carries the path to awakening." Your awakening tonight is not about seeing the stars. It's about feeling what you've long ignored. That pain in your chest might be a goodbye you never said. That tightness in your hands might be the fight you never got to finish. That restlessness in your belly might be the freedom you never let yourself feel. And now you are feeling, and that is enough, more than enough. Let the body speak. Let the breath listen. Let your presence be the silence, where healing echoes loudest. Sleep may not come instantly, but peace might, and that is the true beginning of rest. Part 5, The Illusion of Control in Sleep. Have you ever noticed how hard you try to sleep? You adjust your blanket again. Turn the pillow to the cool side. Shift to your left, then your right. Stretch your legs, pull them in. Sigh once, twice, still awake. And now, somewhere inside, the pressure begins to build. Why can't I sleep? I did everything right today. This will ruin my tomorrow. I need to sleep now. And with each thought, your heart beats a little louder. Your breath shallows. Your mind spins. You begin to grasp, tighten, force. You begin to chase sleep, like someone chasing a bird, with frantic hands. But sleep is not something you catch. Sleep is something you receive, when you stop trying to own it. That's what the Buddha teaches us about peace. You cannot grasp peace. You can only make space for it to arrive. And sleep is peace with the body, peace with the moment, peace with the not knowing. But we live in a world obsessed with control. We track our sleep. We set alarms to remind ourselves to relax. We optimize our rooms, our meals, our minds. We build routines like shrines to performance. And yet, we are still tired, because the very act of trying to sleep creates more tension than it relieves. In the attempt to control rest, we lose it, just like trying to fall in love, or trying to be spontaneous, or trying to be enlightened. Sleep slips away when we turn it into a task. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who sought enlightenment. Every day he meditated longer than anyone else. He followed every instruction perfectly. He fasted. He sat. He watched his breath with military discipline. And yet, nothing happened. No deep peace. No insight. Just frustration. One day he asked the master, "Why am I not awakening? I'm doing everything right." The master smiled and said, "Trying to awaken is like trying to smooth a lake with your hands. The more you stir, the more you disturb it. Let go. Be still. The lake knows how to settle itself. Just like the lake, your body knows how to sleep. It doesn't need your control. It needs your trust. And trust requires surrender. Not the kind of surrender where you give up in despair, but the sacred kind where you finally stop gripping the outcome. So tonight, let's stop chasing sleep. Let's give up the illusion that it comes by command. Instead, let's listen to what the body wants to teach us. Lie here, just as you are. Don't shift. Don't fix. Just feel the weight of your body on this earth, the gentle pull of gravity, the steadiness of breath. Say inwardly, "I give up the chase. I open to rest." Notice what shifts. Maybe your belly softens. Maybe your eyes grow heavy. Or maybe nothing changes, and that's okay too. Because real letting go is not about outcome. It's about honesty. And the honest truth is, right now you are trying. So gently forgive yourself for that. Then breathe and try less. Imagine now that you are a leaf on a tree. The wind has begun to move, and the stem that connects you to your branch is growing weak. There's no fear, no panic, just the quiet knowing that it's time. So you release, and you don't fall. You float. The air carries you. You are not controlling the descent. You are simply allowing it. That's how sleep works. Not like a command, but like a leaf surrendering to air. You don't need to make sleep happen. You only need to stop interrupting it. And every time you notice your mind trying again, to fix, to measure, to force, just smile. You are human, and you are learning a softer way. The Zen masters say, the harder you try to hold the moon in your hand, the more it slips through your fingers. So stop holding. Start beholding. Behold this moment with its hum, its tired eyes, its aching body. Behold your breath, not perfect, but real. Behold the fact that you are alive, still here, still trying, and still deserving of rest. Not because you did enough, not because you earned it, but because you are alive. That is enough. Let go now, not as an act of effort, but as an act of grace. You are the leaf. The wind will carry you. The body knows the way. You can trust it. Part 6. You are not the thought. Zen's mirror. There is a strange moment that happens to many of us, especially at night. You're lying in the dark. The room is quiet. Your breath is soft. And then suddenly, a memory, a sentence, a feeling. It arrives like a whisper, like a shadow across a still lake. And before you even realize, you're inside it, reliving the moment, arguing again in your head, correcting what you said, feeling the shame, the pain, the regret. You didn't invite it, but now it's here. And somehow, You believe it. You believe the voice. You become the thought. But Buddhism teaches us something very powerful. You are not the thought. You are the awareness that sees it. The thought is like a cloud. You are the sky. The thought is a ripple. You are the still water beneath. In Zen, this is called mirror mind. The mind is like a mirror. It reflects whatever appears before it. Joy, sorrow, anger, laughter, all pass through. But the mirror itself, it remains untouched. It doesn't cling. It doesn't judge. It just reflects. So tonight, instead of fighting the thoughts, instead of silencing them, instead of believing them, let's try something different. Let's watch them. Sit back, not physically, but inwardly. Become the mirror. See the thought as it arises. What if I fail? They never loved me. I can't do this. Pause and say inwardly, a thought, not my thought, not true or false, just the thought. Let it come, let it go. If another appears, as it will, greet it the same way. This is not repression. This is recognition. The more you watch, the less you believe. The less you believe, the less the thoughts control you. And when the thoughts stop being your identity, something strange and beautiful happens. You begin to feel free, not because the thoughts disappear, but because their power over you dissolves. This is what the Buddha meant when he said, "Whatever has the nature to arise, also has the nature to pass away." Thoughts arise, thoughts pass. They are not you. You are the space they pass through. Take a moment now, close your eyes gently, and bring to mind a thought that has visited you often, especially at night. A worry, a regret, a question. Hold it gently, not tightly, not angrily, like a bird in your hands. Soft breathing, not yours to keep. Now ask yourself, if this thought disappeared forever, would I disappear too? Of course not, because you are still here. When the thought is gone, that is proof. You are not the thought. You are the mirror. You are the one watching. And the more you practice this watching, not once but every night, the stronger the mirror becomes. Clearer, wider, more peaceful. Even when the thoughts are loud, you no longer have to react. You simply reflect. This is not indifference. This is freedom. Freedom from identification. Freedom from attachment. And freedom brings rest, because it's not the thought that keeps us awake. It's the belief in the thought, the clinging, the story we tell about it. Tonight, you don't need a new story. You need space. Let each thought arise, float across the mind, and vanish like a cloud crossing a vast sky. You are that sky, still, expansive, untouched. Even if a storm comes, the sky remains. Even if lightning cracks, the sky holds it all, and then lets it go. Just like you can hold these thoughts without becoming them. If you'd like, you can even whisper softly, "This too shall pass," not as a cliche, as a knowing. Every thought you've ever had came, stayed for a moment, then left. Even the painful ones, even the ones you thought would haunt you forever. You are still here. The mirror remains. And when the mirror is steady, sleep returns. Not because the thoughts vanished, but because the space between them became large enough to rest in. Let's rest in that space now. Feel your breath again, not as a tool, just as a companion. Let it move gently, like mist on a pond. Thoughts may still come, but you don't need to move. You are the watcher, the mirror, the sky, and this is the peace that needs no silence. It only needs space. Sleep may come, it may not, but freedom is already here, and that is more restful than any dream. Part 7, the wind settles on its own. You've done everything now. You've let go of the day. You've let go of control. You've sat beside your thoughts. You've come home to your breath. And yet, you're still awake. You might begin to wonder, what else do I need to do? But perhaps that's the final thread, keeping you tied to restlessness, the belief that there is still something left to do. In Zen, there is a saying, when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. This is not about laziness. It's about allowing life to unfold, without interference, without gripping, without fixing. And this applies to sleep more than anything else, because sleep is not something you make. It is something you fall into, like a leaf falls from a tree, without effort, without trying. Let's go, and let's gravity do the rest. Can you feel the invitation in that? What if you did absolutely nothing right now? Not even try to sleep, not even try to relax, not even listen well. What if you simply let yourself be, without effort, without thought, just being?
No checking,
No watching,
no measuring.
just like a field after the rain, still saturated and in no rush to bloom. That is what we mean by surrender, but not forced surrender, not giving up with clenched teeth. This is soft surrender, like a sigh, like an exhale that you didn't realize you were holding. In Buddhist practice, there's a word, virya. It means effort, energy. But the highest form of virya is not intensity, it's consistency, the quiet discipline of non-doing, of simply staying with what is. That is what we offer now. Stay with the stillness. Let the wind within you settle on its own. Don't chase the wind. Don't try to calm it. Just step aside. It knows how to still itself. You don't have to be the one to silence it. You are not the wind. You are the open field. Can you feel that? The space inside you, widening, not empty, but open. There's nothing to push, nothing to solve. Even the thought, I must be still, is already too much. Let go of even that. Let go of letting go. Just be here, still, breathing, alive. This may be the most honest rest you've had in a long time, not the kind that requires silence, but the kind that arises when nothing is left to control. Let the body rest in its own time. Let the heart quiet in its own rhythm. Let the breath move like wind, through an open window, in and out, no one forcing it. If there is still movement in the mind, let it move. Just don't follow it. Like watching leaves blow across a road. You see them, but you don't chase them. You remain, soft, rooted, still. This is the paradox of real rest. It begins when you are no longer the one trying to rest. There is a story of a monk who asked the Zen master, "How can I still the waves in my mind?" The master replied, "Stop trying to control the water. Simply hold the bowl. Eventually, the waves will settle themselves." Tonight, Yen Fan, you are just the bowl, just the container. Hold space for whatever is still moving. You don't need to still it. That is the practice. That is enough. And when the last wave finally stops, you won't even notice. You'll already be drifting, not asleep, but no longer awake, no longer trying, no longer grasping, just floating. This is not an achievement. It's a return, a homecoming to something that was never far away, a quiet so ancient, so deep, it doesn't even need your awareness to be real. Simply is, let the wind settle on its own. You are ready now to do nothing, and in doing nothing, you are held by everything. Part 8, a quiet return to the breath. There comes a moment in every night when the words no longer matter, when the mind no longer needs answers, when even the softest thoughts become too loud, and all that remains is breath, not controlled, not measured, just breath. No mantras, no teachings, no effort. Only this, the inhale, as if life enters again, like a quiet tide. The exhale, as if life leaves gently, without complaint. You've traveled so far tonight, through the mind, through the body, through memories, stories, attachments, illusions. And now, you are here, not because you arrived, but because you finally stopped leaving. There is nothing left to let go of, because you are already held. No one left to become, because you are already enough. Just the breath, soft as morning mist, floating across still water. This is your true self, not the thinker, not the doer, Not the worrier, the dreamer, or the one who cannot sleep. Just this awareness, this gentle presence, this quiet knowing. And within that knowing, there is peace. No fanfare, no enlightenment, just peace. The kind that doesn't need to be noticed, to be real. The kind that wraps around you, like a warm blanket woven from stillness. In Buddhist practice, we often return to the breath, not to change it, but to remember, this is the one thing that's always here, even when I forget, even when I fear, even when I fall apart. Your breath has been with you since the first cry, and it will remain until the last sigh. Let it hold you now. Let it rock you, not into sleep, but into surrender. If you're still awake, that's okay. Sleep will come. It always does. But even if it doesn't, you've already come home. You've already arrived. In the stillness that so many search for, but few dare to stop chasing. You stopped. You listened. You softened. And that is sacred. So now there is no need for more words. Only silence. Only breath. Only this moment. Let it all fall away. Let the breath take over. Let the darkness become gentle. Let the self dissolve into something wider, softer, truer. The Dharma doesn't need your attention. It needs your presence. And presence is already here, in your chest, in the hush of this night, in the breath that returns home, over and over again. Welcome back. Sleep well, dear one. We'll meet again, in silence, in stillness, in breath. You may already be asleep, or maybe you're still here, but softer. Either way, there's nothing left to chase. No more fixing, no more trying, just breath, just being. If this story brought you even a little closer, to rest, to stillness, to yourself, then let's stay connected. Subscribe to Lotus Light Teachings, not just for content, but for companionship. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice, on a sleepless night, to remind you, you were never alone. Sleep gently. We'll meet again. In silence, in breath, in peace.